Okay, let's start with our prayer before study. Christ my Lord, the giver of light and wisdom, who opened the eyes of the blind man and transformed the fishermen into wise heralds and teachers of the gospel through the coming of the Holy Spirit, shine also in my mind the light of the grace of the Holy Spirit. Grant me discernment, understanding, and wisdom in learning. Enable me to complete my assignments and to abound in every good work. For to you I give honor and glory. Amen. Most blessed Lord, send the grace of your Holy Spirit on me to strengthen me, that I may learn well the subject I am about to study, and by it become a better person, for your glory, the comfort of my family, and the benefit of your church and our nation. Amen. Fabulous. We are going to do a variety of things today. Oh, you like that? Oh, Bryn likes the variety. First up, though, I have papers for you. Here's the deal with the papers. Some people, I just didn't know what to tell you to make it better. Okay, I couldn't find, it just seemed like I would be giving you busy work, right? For revisions. Like, I'm just going to pick on something just to make you make a revision. I'm not going to do that to anybody. If I ask for a revision, it says on your paper, please revise this. I don't think anybody has major stuff. And it's probably going to, if you have anything, it's going to look very familiar. It's going to be, you didn't tell me again what was the most important reason and why in your conclusion. Or you told me something and I don't know if I believe it. You didn't really prove it. Okay? So I don't think this is going to take anyone very long. Some of you, though, I just thought, you know what, this is a fine paper. And so please don't feel bad. You don't know how much the people who I said, I don't know what to tell you to fix, you don't know how much they worked on that paper, right? Only you know how much you worked on your paper. So do not judge and do not feel bad, all right? But this is the deal. So, but what I would really like from you, though, is if you don't understand what I'm looking for, please ask. There's not going to be a silly question, honestly. If you don't understand what I'm looking for. Now this one has no name, so it's going in the back. So it'll say, oh, could you make these revisions, blah, 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 or it'll say, hey, great. Even if it has some edits, if it says, no, I don't think any revisions are necessary, you're good, all right? But now I know you're all, is it me? Is it me? I know, but it's just don't feel bad. Just that's the way it works. That's the way life works. Life isn't fair, right? And you don't have to spy on your neighbor either. No spying. Okay. First of all, Luke, this is your former revision, and I'm sorry. There's no way to do this without just saying it directly to you. You didn't fix some of the things. You just you don't have to do it again. This one, but I just want you to notice when you need to pay careful attention to detail, because I said it's not the Lord of the Rings, and then you wrote Lord of the Rings again. You didn't change it, and then I put on here, this is 2 words, a while, and look, you didn't change it. So when there are changes to be made, you need to make them. Now, is there anybody who didn't get a paperback? Okay, could this be you? What? Oh, well, you don't usually use font like this. And your type is larger, generally. Like you use a, okay.
That's a really nice paper.
It's a really nice paper. Well, maybe it belongs to somebody on Thursday. Well, sure. I mean, maybe.
That's mine.
She said 3 words for alliteration.
Fabulous.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Okay. Now, does some of you have revisions for me? Does anybody have anything for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, are Merry and Pippin heroes?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I will take that.
They are.
Katya.
For my alliteration, the, there, and them. That was 3 words.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
I should have edited this.
Yes.
I noticed it.
And you noticed it. Okay. Awesome. Okay. What? Hey, go, let's bring it down just a little. Remember, if you were in a classroom, you'd probably all be sent to the principal's office by now. So, especially by doing things like that, Ben. You can't just talk whenever you want to talk. All right? Now, fortunately, I don't want to run a normal classroom. I don't want it to be like that. I want us to talk, and I want to hear what you have to say. And so it's not like that. But you can't all talk at the same time, and you can't all suddenly break into some sort of private joke, or we'll never get anywhere. Does everybody understand? But you don't have to do that, Anne. You don't have to. You don't have to. It's not like a vow of silence in a monastery. It's not that level. Okay. I've got your papers. Let me put them over here. And then you can't read other people's papers. Okay. So we have left a big thing out of our discussion of the Reformation so far. We've been talking about Luther and Zwingli and Calvin. And then last week it was horrendous. I think it's horrendous. I'm sorry that is right in your way. You know what? I don't like it. And here's what I'm going to do about it. I'm moving it over a little bit so that I can see Christian. Last week it was horrendous wars. And that's really all we've heard from the Catholic side. They're going to kill the Huguenots on St. Bartholomew's Day. Yay. No, not yay. What is the Catholic Church doing about people like Luther and Calvin? So far we have not, before this chapter, we haven't found out anything. And you might think, did you lose something, Luke? Do you need help? Okay. You might think that they just decided to ignore it. And you know what? You wouldn't be too far off. But now I'm going to ask you to go back in your memory earlier this semester. And I think this will ring a bell. First of all, the first guy should totally ring a bell. Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor, who just won't go away, right? I told you. You're going to hear about this guy again and again and again. Remember, his aunt is Catherine of Aragon, that Henry VIII wants to ditch for Anne Boleyn. And he says, I don't think so. That's my aunt. Remember that week we met him. And he was what? He's king of Germany. He's king of Spain. He's ruling in the Netherlands. He's the Holy Roman Emperor. He's running most of Europe. All right? And this is happening about the same time. But let's go back a little bit farther. Do you remember that there were 3 people who were shooting for the office of Holy Roman Emperor? Charles got it. One of them was Henry VIII. He wasn't going to get it. It just wasn't going to happen. And the other is Francis I, King of France, which is very convenient that Francis is the King of France. It's easy to remember. He wanted it. And Charles wanted it. And Henry wanted it. But does anybody remember Francis did something kind of dirty and underhanded to keep Charles busy in Germany while Francis could go campaigning and trying to get elected? He invited someone to start a war. Does anybody remember who he invited to start a war?
Oh, was it like,
Oh, tell me where they're from. Tell me what, like,
weren't they like, I don't remember what they're called.
it's okay. Can you remember anything, like location? What? No? What? No, we're too late for Goths now. The Goths are done. I don't know where the Goths are now, but they're done. But you're on the right track. Oh, she wants to look it up. I'm gonna give her. Shh, shh, shh. Ann's hot on the trail. Let her.
Detective Ann.
Oh, and that's a really good idea. Everybody look at the map. In the back of your book. Look at the one that's on page. I don't like that one. Oh, I might not have a good one for this time period. Maybe I need to put more maps in next time. Hold on, I can't get these 2 pages apart. You could look on the page one on 83. Okay, but they're not on there.
I don't have anything.
I know. I'm sorry, Ben. I don't know what happened to your edition. What? No, but is everybody? Ben, look at Julia's map if you don't have yours. Does everybody see east of Hungary the Khanate of the Golden Horde? I want to belong to the Khanate of the Golden Horde. It's like a secret society. Okay. What? No. The people who took over that Khanate of the Golden Horde, they moved in later. It's the Turks. The Ottoman Turks. Now, everybody look on that map. Look where they are. They start pushing into Hungary. They start pushing into Poland. They're okay. See that where it says Khanate of the Golden Horde? Yeah. So you see they're right here. They can push on Hungary, and they've taken over part of Hungary too. They can push on Poland, and what's next? If they boom. And so Francis, playing very low and dirty, guys. The Turks, but the Muslim groups. These are the people they went on crusades against, for crying out loud. And Francis said, hey guys, let's cut a deal. Why don't you come start attacking Europe so I can be the Holy Roman Emperor? What? So does everybody see Charles is busy? Charles has all these places to rule, and Henry's trying to get his aunt divorced, and Turks are attacking. You might remember that we talked about a big battle of Lepanto that happened in that same century where, guys, this is off the west coast of Greece. This is just right next to Italy. This thing happened. I mean, it was close. And so Luther nails his 95 Theses to the door, and Calvin writes his Institutes, and the church is just busy. And the Holy Roman Emperor is busy. The church is worried because the Turks are right next door. And frankly, okay, guys, have you ever had a problem and you just kind of hoped if you ignored it, it would go away after a while? I feel like most of us have done this. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the problem gets worse while you wait. And this, from the church perspective, this is what happened with the Reformation. They waited, they didn't deal with it. And I don't know if you remember last week, I read, they're dealing with Lutherans and they're dealing with Calvinists, but there's all sorts of groups of people. These Anabaptists have popped up, and they've taken over the city and called it the New Jerusalem, and it's complete outbreak. And by the time the church has settled things down, the Turks have been pushed back. It's spread too far to put it back. Does that make sense to you guys? And so, because our first question is, why was the Council of Trent summoned? Why doesn't somebody answer that question for me? Yes, Christian.
To counter the Protestant Reformation.
Okay, yes, to say, what was the first word you said?
Counter.
Counter, yes. To say, look, this is what they're teaching, but this is what we teach. And this is what we think is wrong with what they're teaching. And your book tells you that it was first, maybe if I put my glasses on, it would help. Okay. The council was summoned in 1545. Let me put a couple of dates on the board. 1517. This is when Martin Luther says, I don't like these indulgences, I don't like this other stuff, and here's what I'm going to do about it. They called the meeting in 1545. So if it had been 1547, how long would that be? That's an easy math. 30 years. So it's 2 years short of that, 28 years. It took them 20, are you with me, you two? It took them 28 years to call a council saying, yeah, this is what we're going to do about this Reformation deal. It's a long time. Yeah.
Maybe they didn't think it would spread as far.
Well, that's the thing, too. I think everything we've said is true. Not everything we've said is true, but all of the reasons. Charles, who's heavily involved in this, is busy. And by the way, Charles has the power to convene courts in Germany. This is the court that Martin Luther was brought to, with churchmen there and everything. The Pope is worried about the Turks. The Pope is worried about dealing with the Holy Roman Emperor. City-states in Italy are fighting each other all the time. We've got to deal with that. And they got all this stuff going on, and they're busy, but also maybe they just thought this is just one of those things that happens from time to time. There'd been, and I apologize to Protestants in the group, I'm going to refer to Protestants as heretics because that's what the church would refer to them as, all right? Heresies had arisen before. And there's a little bit of persecution and they tamp it down and it goes away. And thought maybe this is going to be one of those things. But it wasn't. It wasn't. And by the time they figured that out, what are you going to do? So basically there were three responses. We're going to look at three responses. And those are our other three questions for today. Response number one, the Inquisition. We talked about the Inquisition before. First of all, what is the Inquisition and what country was mostly in charge of it?
Inquisition was, it defined like heresy, like
Okay. It's not one of those things. It's just when people say I have a frog in my throat, why do they say that? If you had a frog in your throat, you would die. You would choke to death. Anyway, this was a very small tadpole. Okay. What did you say again about the Inquisition, Fred? Battled and defeated heresy. First, before you battle and defeat something, what do you have to do? Before you can battle something, what do you have to do? Oh, you have to get ready for the battle, but you got to do something else.
well, you need to train men.
You need to train men. What else do you need to do before you have a battle with someone? What? You need to know what you're fighting, who you're fighting, and where they are. You need to find them. You need to find them. And so the Inquisition was a system set up by, okay, everybody listen to me. Because you always hear this wrong in history books. And guys, it's really important to us because this is one of the tools that people say, look at that, that's why the church is all wrong and evil. That's why we need to know. The Inquisition was taken up by Spain. They went a little overboard, sniffing out heresy and trying to find things that didn't agree with the church. And did they kill people? Yes. Did they kill millions of people? No. That's the first thing you hear wrong. Here's the other thing. Everybody conveniently forgets that even the Pope didn't like it very much. And he sent, this is Ferdinand and Isabella. We're back to Ferdinand and Isabella, who paid Columbus, right? And he said, tone it down. I don't know what's going on in Spain, but we don't approve. And they just kind of ignored him. So this is the story. The story you hear is, the church is evil. Look at all the people they killed in the Inquisition. It was brutal. The real story is even the Pope didn't like it much. Ferdinand and Isabella had their own reasons. And look, Dorothy Mills says this. I love this line. No one, it has never been quite clear why they asked for this, to have an Inquisition in Spain. The motives of Isabella were undoubtedly religious. Those of Ferdinand were probably not. He wanted order and discipline in the kingdom, and he may have believed that uniformity in all things would strengthen his authority. How hard is it? Okay, you're the king or queen. Congratulations. Would you rather rule a people who are all united and all kind of think and do the same things? Or would you rather rule a group of people who are all this, there, everywhere, and arguing with each other over what's right? Obviously. So it's quite possible that Ferdinand didn't even care about religion. He didn't care about the heretics. He was like, I need to stop the fight. And I'll kill a few people if necessary to do it. Okay, so that's more accurate, all right? And also, for those who attack the Catholic Church, look at the Inquisition, I would point out it wasn't Catholics who were sniffing out witches in Salem, Massachusetts. It was Protestants, all right? Like both sides, it's not one side. Okay, so answer number 1. Let's torture people till they confess and then kill them publicly to deter other people from being heretics. Got any guesses on how that was working out for them?
Not very well.
You know, it just didn't really work out.
What if they tortured a Catholic?
Yeah, well, and sometimes they did. See, here's the thing, Julia. You could be arrested if someone reported you. But why might someone report you? Because they don't like you.
I think this might have been some other time in history, but like if you reported them, you can get their stuff.
You could get their stuff. This is time. You're right. I don't think they give you money, but they might give you a portion of the proceeds of the people's belongings. Though. But Julia, I like Julia's. I don't like you. I don't like you, and I want you gone, so I'm going to report you to the Inquisition. What?
Luke is a PS5. I'm gonna report him, so I can get his stuff.
Right? See, exact. I mean,
That'd be really stupid.
Christian. I'm not saying all the time. I bet a lot of the informers really, really thought they were informing on people. Here's a group of people who got informed on a lot. Here's 2 groups of people. Muslims who said they had become Christians. You might remember that in 1492, Ferdinand and Isabella, in addition to sending Columbus, also cut a deal with the Muslims and sent them to one city and said, oh, we're gonna make it so you guys can worship, and then they reneged on that. And they threw them all out of the country. But you could stay if you said, no, I'm going to decide to become a Christian. But see, if they saw you sneaking around with your former Muslim friends and going in a building together, you're like, you know what they're doing? They're worshiping Allah. I know it. I'm reporting them. Another group that...
Be thrown in prison.
and they could just be throwing a party. Another group that got reported a lot was Jews, because Jews also were thrown out unless they became Christians. And they would spy on them and say, oh, I think they're still, following Jewish customs and stuff like that. And they get reported. Okay, this is method number 1. Okay, let's look at method number 2. What religious order was founded by St. Ignatius Loyola, and what was its mission? And? The Jesuits, or the Society of Jesus. And Christian, you want to take what their mission was, since you had your hand?
Missionary work spreading about Jesus to the new world in China and like Asia.
Yes, but do you know what they were doing in Europe? They did, I mean, this was because they wanted to go to the Holy Land and everything, but look, what were they?
They were like teaching.
Teaching, which goes along with what you said, right? Missionary work is a teaching. There's teaching involved. But they said, here's their answer. Why are these heretics? Why are these people going over to the Reformation? Why are they becoming Lutherans and Calvinists? Because they don't know. They haven't been taught well enough. Here's the problem. And guys, Dorothy Mills tells us at the very beginning of the chapter. She says, hold on. By the middle of the 16th century, it was realized that real reform was needed in the discipline and administration of the church, and that there should be some clear definition of what doctrine was. The church itself knew things have not been going well. Do you remember our problems with we buy the office of bishop for our 9-year-old son so he can collect the money? He doesn't know anything. And you have priests out in the country who can't even read and write. They basically memorize the words of the Mass and memorize the words, of absolution. This is all they know. Like, they can't study. They can't teach you anything. This was happening. And the church said, this is what's gone wrong. People just don't know what we're teaching. And they just fall for a Luther or a Calvin. So we need a group of people who will teach. And as Christian pointed out, missionaries. China, India, New World. Remember? Mrs. Ferguson's on a rampage today. This irks me. The whole, we came to the New World to conquer, kill, and destroy. Some people did. But we conveniently forget all the Catholic missionaries that were sent over here. And sometimes, at the cost of their lives, protected the native peoples and said, you can't do that to these people. They're human beings created in the image of God, and you can't do that. This happened too, but we only talk about one and we don't talk about the other. Okay. Because there are always bad people in every group, and there's generally good people in every group. All right, but they wanted to teach people. They made a deal with the Pope. They were only if you're a Jesuit, you are only answerable to the general of your order, and he is only answerable to the Pope. Yeah, and they very disciplined. Educationally, this is kind of interesting. I have read part of the document they put together. It's called the Ratii Studiorum, the rationales of studies, the reasons of studies, the basis of studies, and it tells us what their schools were like, what the kids studied, what ages they studied. Some of you might like to know, they put on plays. They did that was part of the education under the Jesuits. Guys, they were super teachers. They went through a lot of training before students were handed over to them. They were really good. But they said, okay, if people just were taught the right thing, they will stop going over to the Reformation. Now, what do you think about that? If you teach people correctly, will they do the right thing?
No, hopefully.
Okay, we have no, hopefully, and probably. Depends on the person. Let me use an example. Are Snickers bars good for you?
Yes.
technically.
No, they're not. They're full of sugar. They're just full of sugar and all sorts of preservatives. And if you look on the ingredient list, it's stuff you don't even know what that stuff is. With really long
In
names.
Panama, they don't allow that stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't care how you feel about Snickers. My point is this. Can we all agree that Snickers are not a good nutritional choice, generally? Now, let's not talk about you. Let's talk about me. Okay, I like good chocolate, not mediocre chocolate, but good chocolate is expensive. So if I just want mediocre chocolate like grocery store line, Snickers is my go-to. I like good Snickers. I like a good Snickers. Do I know that they are bad for me? Do I eat them? Oh, so I totally eat them. You see, I've learned the truth, but it doesn't change my actions. Do you see the problem? We all do it. We all do it. Do we know that exercise is good for us? Yes. Do some of us are out there exercising. Would some of us rather just sit in a chair and read? Yeah. I would be happy not to move. If I could hire a servant to bring me my food and tea, I would just never get up, except I have to go to the bathroom eventually. But
I can be your servant.
it'd be a pretty boring gig, Julia, I'm telling you. And I don't pay very well. Okay, so
$1 an hour.
So unfortunately, teaching people will help, but it doesn't solve the problem. Okay, last option. How did Saint Teresa think that heresy could be combated or should be combated? I'm sorry, look. Prayer. Prayer. She started a order of sisters devoted to prayer. She was very orderly, but apparently she was it wasn't like strict, and I'm going to hit your knuckles with a ruler sort of thing. It was, things need to be orderly and just so and clean. But we are here to love and pray. She also had, I feel like you guys aren't listening to me. I feel like if what?
I said my paper science is good.
Oh, okay.
Julia.
I do need you to stay with me, okay? I realize we're nearing the end of the school year and spring is springing in the flowers and it makes us all very distracted. But don't stop before the finish line. Don't be like the hare who takes a nap and then the turtle beats you. Don't do it. Okay. She had some mystical visions and experiences of God, of the love of God, that I don't understand because I've never had a mystical vision. Maybe I will someday and then I'll understand. Maybe I will never. Maybe some one of you will. Maybe you will never. Don't know. God does what he does. But she said it was just almost painful, just the love of God. And a famous sculptor named Bernini has made a statue of this, and it's in a church in Rome, and I plan to go in and see it. If pictures are allowed, I will take a nice picture, yes.
We listened to 5 podcasts on Teresa of Avila.
Oh.
It was really cool.
And did they talk about her experiences?
They talked about what her saint story.
Oh, okay.
So it's children, it's not.
Yes. Oh, yes. If we have time at the end, maybe I'll look it up on my computer. It's amazing, but it's big. Like life-size statue with light shining on it. What?
Is it like her?
It's her and this angel standing over her. It's like the love of God coming upon her. Anyway, okay. So we have 3 responses: hunt them down and kill them, teach them what is right, and pray for them. I don't love hunt them down and kill them,
The first one's the best option.
but teach and pray seem good. And you know what? I find this very interesting. Do you guys remember talking about St. Francis and St. Dominic? This was last fall, right? Francis goes around, he's married to Lady Poverty, and I'm just going to love people. I love the animals, and I just talk to them and everything. Dominic starts this group. He's like, we need to teach people. We're going to start teaching. And they both were important. They were both needed. And I asked you which one do you think was more important, and it was not really an answerable question. So the teaching and the praying is both. We need them both. We need them both. So the Council of Trent went on and off for 20 years, and they laid down basically what is today the Catechism of the Catholic Church. Everything that is taught today, they laid it down. Now, does that mean they started believing it then? No. It means that's when they wrote it down and set it in order. Here is a list of the things we believe. And if you don't believe these things, you're not in the Catholic Church. You're outside of the church. You're a Protestant.
Is that the Baltimore Catechism?
This is before that. This is before that. This is the very first. So sometimes they refer to things as tridentine. If you've ever heard the term a tridentine mass, or tridentine means having to do with the Council of Trent, coming from the Council of Trent. It was this council. And keep in mind what's going on. At the same time, Henry VIII is setting up his own church in England. All right. We have, okay, that's all I have to say about that. Is there any question or comment? Does it kind of make sense why they waited so long, but when they did, they definitively said, this is what the church believes. This is what the church teaches. But it was too late to slow the Reformation down. And I believe I had a book with me last week, and I showed you guys a map of the portions of Europe, which direction they'd already gone. Okay, we have 2 meetings left after today, and we are going to spend them both reading chapter 20. We're skipping chapter 19. It is called something like Economic Changes in the... It has a title that makes you not want to read it, and we are not reading it. And a lot of it we've already talked about. Stuff like Venice not being important anymore because the Turks won't let them go through there, and now they're sailing to the New World. And so we're going to chapter 20. Chapter 20, though, is exceedingly long. Don't worry, Julia, because we're reading it over 2 weeks. So, and I believe this, could you flip to the next page? Oh, it says that, parts 1 through 5. So it says, read chapter 20, parts 1 through 5. Stick with that. And it is all about the reign of Queen Elizabeth. Henry VIII's final surviving child. Remember, Edward was his only boy, and he died young. And then Mary took over. But out of all those 6, he only got 3 kids. And Mary went back to Catholicism and married Philip of Spain, and then she died. And the only one, well, kind of the only one left was Elizabeth. There were other people that were in the royal family, and people thought, oh, maybe we should go that direction. We'll talk about that. But Elizabeth got it, and Elizabeth, I don't know the exact number of years, she ruled for over 40 years. She ruled for a really long time, which gives you a chance to settle things down. Think about what Elizabeth faced. Her dad and all his shenanigans. Her brother, who was pushed around basically by adult advisors and then died. Then her sister came in and turned everything back Catholic, made everybody hate their family. And now she comes in and she's just got to settle it down. Because remember what we just said, you don't want to rule a people who are fighting all the time with each other and causing trouble. So we're going to spend the rest of our semester together with Queen Elizabeth. But some of the most amazing, important literature and things happened under Queen Elizabeth, including Shakespeare, which we read Macbeth this year already, yes.
Wait, we read Macbeth this year?
Yeah, we did.
I thought it was last year.
That was Julie's season.
It just seemed like such a long year. This year's been so long for Christian. Yes, it was technically in 2025, but it was this school year. Yes, Bryn.
Have you ever read the book Shakespeare's Theatre?
I have heard a lot about it, but I have never read it. The Shakespeare Stealer is very popular. Now, we are going to do something each day, today and the next 2 times. As you know, Shakespeare wrote a bunch of plays. Some of you last year read Julius Caesar with me. All of you this year read Macbeth with me. But he also wrote many, many poems. And in fact, he pioneered a particular kind of poem. And we are going to look at one of his poems every week for the next 3 weeks. And I have chosen 3 of my favorites. And yes, you know where to find them. They're in the back of your book. And so I would like everybody, we're going to spend about 15 minutes on this, and then we're going to talk about Return of the King. Everybody to turn to, what pages are we on, Anne? 70, yes, page 70.
Beautiful! Yay! I've never seen these before.
Okay. First of all, it says they're all sonnets. I need to tell you a little bit about a sonnet, and we are going to just look at Sonnet 73 today. That's all we're going to do. You do not have to write down anything I'm going to say, although if you want to take notes on that paper for future reference to read sonnets, great. Here's what we mean by a sonnet. A sonnet is a particular form of poetry. And by the way, Shakespeare wrote something like 150 sonnets,
100.
in addition to all those plays.
How is that really?
Can we stop talking? Yeah. That'd be great. Sonnets always have 14 lines. No more, no less. 14 lines. There are 2 kinds of sonnets, but I'm not going to trouble you with that. One is called the Petrarchan sonnet, and it's an Italian guy named Petrarch, and Shakespeare didn't write those. Shakespeare pioneered his own kind of sonnet, which was called the Shakespearean sonnet. It's a big surprise. Here's how a Shakespearean sonnet works. You have 4 lines that have a thought. The thought all holds together. Then you have another 4 lines that have a thought. You have another 4 lines that have a thought. What is 3 times 4? So how many more lines do I need? 2. I have 2 lines that wrap it up. So you have a topic, say. He picks a topic, and he says, I'm going to discuss this topic in 4 lines in this way. Then I'm going to discuss this topic in 4 lines in this other way. Then I'm going to do it in this other way, and then I'm going to wrap up the whole idea. That's a sonnet. Now, I have one more thing to tell you. Sonnets use a certain kind of rhythm. Have we talked about meter? Some of you have talked about meter with me. Have any of you talked about meter? Do you know what I mean by meter? Oh, awesome.
Oh.
Meter or poetic meter?
Oh.
Okay. Not like
You're
parking.
Like centimeters.
No, or parking meters, or no. Poetic meter.
No,
All right.
no idea.
Have you ever noticed that sometimes poems have a rhythm to them? And you can almost chant them. Dr. Seuss is very good at this. Listen to the beginning of The Cat in the Hat. Listen. I'm going to recite The Cat in the Hat. I know it's funny, but try not to just listen. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to really hit the rhythm. That's not a good way to read poetry, but I want you to hear it. Are you ready? Yeah. The sun did not shine, it was too wet to play, so we sat in the house all that cold, cold, wet day. I sat there with Sally, we sat there, we two, and I said how I wish we had something to do, too wet to go out and too cold to play ball. And that's where I can't remember the rest of it, all right? Okay, so I remember, Marco comes late. The long one I memorized was 9. Okay. Just a second. Oh, I can't, just give me a moment, okay? Give me a moment. I can't bring up the beginning. It's okay, okay, I know many other poems. Okay, listen to this one. You might know this one. It's a different rhythm. Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere on the 18th of April in 75. Hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year. Do you hear it? You hear it, right? Let me think of another one. My kids memorized this. Oh, I can't remember the beginning of that one. With their little red feet and her little round head, Mrs. Peck Pigeon goes picking for bread. I can't remember. I can't remember this. Okay. In the other gardens, all up the vale, from the autumn bonfires, see the smoke trail. Pleasant summer over and all the summer flowers. The red fire blazes, the gray smoke towers. Sing a song of seasons, something bright and all. Flowers in the summer, fires in the fall. All right, you get the idea. That's meter. Meter is the rhythm. Now, a lot of modern poems don't use meter, but I really like meter. And when you read poetry, I'm not doing it, I'm making it. That's not good form to read, poems like that. All right, sonnets have a special meter. First of all, the meter is called iambic. All those meters have names, by the way. Here's iambic. Da-da. Da-da, 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 da-da. I wish I had all right, you'll see it when I read the poem. I really want you to stay with me, all right? Okay, I was talking more to them. Here's how we mark words for meter, all right? When you make a little mark like this, it means you don't stress it. And when you make a mark like this, it means you. So that's da-da. This one is da-da. Right? That's how you mark poetry. So, da-da. And sonnets have 5 da-das in every line. Every line is da-da, 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 da-da. This is called iambic. Why is it iambic? Because it's da-da. And it's called pentameter. Does anybody know what penta means? Like how many sides in a pentagon?
5.
5.
I've been to
So, look at this. Da-da, 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 da-da. There's 5 of them. It's iambic, and it's pentameter, because it's got 5 of them. You don't have to, do you get the idea? Okay, now, here's the other thing. Even Dr. Seuss, who's very rhythmic, doesn't always follow it perfectly. Listen to the beginning of The Cat in the Hat again. The sun did not shine. It was too wet to play. That first one, the sun. The other ones have 3. Da 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 da. But that first one is just da da. Poets often mix it up a little bit. Hello. And it's okay. You're going to see Shakespeare mix it up a little bit. So when I read, you're going to, Mrs. Ferguson, he made a mistake. He didn't make a mistake. All right. So we're going to put all this together. But the first thing we're going to do is just read this poem, Sonnet 73, and see if we can figure out what he's talking about. First, I'm going to... I do know what he's talking about. Everybody, read along with me. Do we all see Sonnet 73? Ben, your book isn't even open. To page 70. Thank you. Now, I'm not going to try to highlight the meter. I'm not going to look at the 4442 right now. I'm just going to read it, and I'm going to see if you can figure out what he's talking about. And guys, if you have no idea, don't feel bad. This was written over 400 years ago. Language changes. But just see, you might know.
Shakespeare's a weird language.
Shakespeare is English. Shakespeare's modern English, by the way. Okay, here we go. See if you, here's your job. What do you think he's talking about? That time of year thou mayest in me behold, when yellow leaves, or none or few, do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold, bare ruined choirs where late the sweet bird sang. Okay, actually, I've changed my mind. We're going to do the 444. There was 4 lines. I told you one thought. That time of year thou mayest in me behold, when yellow leaves, or none or few, do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold, bare ruined choirs where late the sweet bird sang. What's he talking about?
Trees in
He's talking about autumn, because he says yellow leaves, or none or few, right? On these boughs, shaken with the cold, bare ruined choirs. There used to be like choir stands where the birds were all lined up, but the choirs are flying, or the birds are flying south. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, but he says, okay, let's just leave it at that. First 4 lines, the fall, autumn. Let's look at the next 4. In me thou seest the twilight of such day as after sunset fadeth in the west, which by and by black night doth take away, death's second self that seals up all in rest. Okay, this one's pretty obvious, I feel like. What's he talking about? Yeah, sunset. The night's coming. After, but it's after sunset fadeth, right? You know, there's that moment where it's, well, but you know, it's still kind of glowy. Yeah, it's still kind of glowy, but the sun has dropped below the horizon, but you can still see the glow. But he says, by and by, black night doth take away. It's fading out. All right, this is turning out to be pretty easy so far. Autumn, sunset. All right, let's see what the next 4 are. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire that on the ashes of his youth doth lie, as the deathbed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. This one's a little harder. But a fire. And what happens to a fire? He says, it's the glowing of a fire that on the ashes of its youth doth lie. You've had a campfire. You've roasted hot dogs and s'mores and whatever, but it's dying down. And there's more and more ashes and less wood. And then some of the wood's just kind of glowing, you know? It's like that kind of fire. He says it's on the ashes of its youth. When was its youth? Well, when you first lit the fire. And you know how it gets really big? And then it dies down. And he says it's like its deathbed. You know the fire's gonna go out and it's all gonna be ashes. Okay, so what do we got? Autumn, sunset, a fire dying out. But I want to go back, before we read the last 2 lines, I want to look back at the very first line. That time of year thou mayest in me behold. And then look at the beginning of line 4, or line 5. In me thou seest the twilight. And then look at another one. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire. Now let's read the last 2 lines because this tops it off. Remember, this is the summary. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well which thou must leave ere long. What's happening to this person? That you see it in me. He's not dying, but what's happening? He's getting old. He's getting old. I know, it's kind of depressing, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. He's saying, you see autumn in me. I know you do. You see sunset in me. It's not all the way gone, right? After sunset, yeah, it's getting there. You see the fire, it's still glowing, but it's going out. You see all of this, it makes you love more, makes your love more strong, to love that well which thou must leave ere long. And he did. I know. This isn't my favorite one. We're gonna save my favorite for another week. Now, one more thing before we, because this is all we're gonna do with this sonnet today, and we'll be better at this when we read. By the way, you're allowed to read the other sonnets this week, but you don't have to. We're gonna go over one a week. Let's look at one more thing. I'm gonna pick the line, as after sunset fadeth. I wish I had fit this all in one line. In the west. As after sunset fadeth in the west. Da 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 da. There's 5.
Piano too.
What?
Can you do that in piano?
Yeah, but we don't call it iambic pentameter. I'm going to pick another. I'll count them. I'll count them on my finger. Which by and by black night doth take away upon those boughs which shake against the cold. Now, I want you guys to stop for a minute and think how hard it would be to write 14 lines. I'm not asking you to do it. I'm asking you to imagine how hard it would be to write 4 lines all about the same topic, four, but they're all about kind of the same topic, wrap it up in iambic pentameter.
Oh, I don't know how he did.
That's really hard.
That's really hard. Here's what I want you guys to do this week. No, you're not going to write a sonnet. Oh, just, you guys are so not ready to write a sonnet. So just let it go. You are not, unless you just get inspired and you want to write a sonnet. No, that's not ever going to be an assignment this year.
Good.
Okay, but this is not hard. Some of you have some revisions, some of you don't. I want to see if you can come up with 2 lines of iambic pentameter. They don't even have to go together. They don't have to rhyme. 2 lines that go da 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 da. Yeah, it's not hard. Listen. I bought a car in Davenport today. You can't use mine.
Darn! I bought a truck.
I bought a truck in Bettendorf.
Yes.
No. So here's the thing.
I bought a truck in Muscatine today.
Yes. Now let's stop buying things. The flowers on the table look so good. It's really not, guys, listen to me. It's really not hard. But here's the thing. Everybody look at me. Everybody stop talking and look at me. Because this just makes me, this is one of the things that once Mrs. Ferguson pushes over the edge. When I give assignments about meter, sometimes people don't give me perfect meter. It's fine. It takes a lot of practice. But for crying out loud, what is 5 times 2?
10.
Give me at least 10 syllables, for crying out loud. If you give me 11 syllables, you've obviously not done it. Count the syllables. Does everybody, don't be offended. Does everybody know how to count syllables? Okay, like like they teach you in 1st grade, 2nd grade, and you clap. Yeah, like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I mean, it's not hard.
So would it be like the dog went to the market getting bread?
Yes, except two. But that would work. That would work. So it's not. But guys, at the very least, give me 10 syllables in each line, because you would not believe the number of students I have that I give this assignment and they give me 9 syllables or 8 syllables or 13 syllables. I'm like, what part of 2 times 5 is 10 do you not understand? And I don't mean to be mean, but I feel like at the very least you can give me 10 syllables. Yes.
Syllables in like both of the sentences or like in each sentence?
Yeah, in each. So listen, Katya's asked a very good question. Guys, she's asked a very good question. 2 lines. Each one is written in iambic pentameter. That's a total of 20 syllables. This one is iambic pentameter, da-da, 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 da-da. Boom. And then you do another one. They do not have to be related to each other, and they don't even have to make particular sense, although English, it turns out that iambic pentameter is used a lot in English because it's really easy to do iambic pentameter, as I showed you. The video recording is still on. I mean, it's really easy. The curtains on the wall cut down the sound. I'm all over the place doing iambic pentameter. It's not hard.
I opened the door yesterday.
No.
I know. I opened up the door to get my water bottle.
No, that's too many. I opened up the door to get my, now you need 1 syllable.
Coffee.
That's not 1 syllable.
The milk.
That's all.
Bag.
What?
Bag.
You opened up the door.
Bag.
To get my bag. Mm-hmm.
Wait, so I ate the lollipop and it was good?
Yes. Okay. I don't think this can be my husband because he left his phone at home and I have it in my purse. But I'm checking all. Oh, yeah. I'll answer later. Okay. I want to finish up our time together. So that's the other thing I want you to do. Read Dorothy Mills, half of chapter 20. I want you to come up with 2 lines of iambic pentameter, which we have just come up with bunches. But you just need to think a little bit. Guys, if you end up with too many syllables, find a different word. Right? Like when Christian wanted his coffee, and he needed 1 syllable, not 2. Well, he can't get his coffee then. He has to get something else. Or he has to take another word away.
I went to get the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
No. Also, final thing, you're finishing Return of the King this week. Which it should just be we read chapters 1 through 5. So it should just be the same amount that we've been reading. And we will finish talking about it. But let's talk about it a little bit now in the time we have left. What kind of king do you believe Aragorn is going to be?
Yeah, you king.
What makes you feel that way?
He's a good person.
And what makes you feel that way?
Because he's also a sword fighter.
Okay, he's a good warrior. Just because you're a good warrior, does that mean you will be a good king?
No.
Because
Boromir was good.
Boromir was a good warrior. Do you think he would have been a good king?
No.
Okay.
But Aragorn has
He's a good soul.
humility and he's just.
Okay, can you give me an example of his humility?
When he was just Strider.
Okay, first of all, his life has been humility. I mean, I love that line. I love that line where it says, there's a fat, balding man in Bree who calls me Strider and has no clue of the horrific things that are kept away from him by me and the Rangers. And remember, no, you haven't got there yet, so I was going to blow up something.
Also, it's like, there's that the guy who's pretending to be king there is like
Yeah,
Aragorn, like
Denethor? Yeah,
it's like he could go there and take back his kingdom, but instead he's letting that guy there.
yes,
And that guy's like, ugh.
yes.
Dead.
Yeah, but we're talking about the whole story, Ben. We're talking about the whole overall story. Let me go through the end of chapter 5 that you read, so I don't. Okay, so when he comes to Minas Tirith, he is the rightful king, and he has just helped defeat, with the help of his dead guys, right? Helped defeat the armies of the enemy. Ben, can you just move down there by Katya? Thank you. What did he do? Yeah, I mean, okay, right, he could just march in and say, hey, dudes, I'm the king. Do you remember what he did? How did he behave? Ben, just take your body down there. Leave your stuff. Just take your body. Thank you. What did he do?
He wasn't even going to go into the city.
He didn't want to go into the city. He didn't even want to go in because it wasn't official. As a matter of fact, he did go in. Why? Eowyn and Faramir and Mary. In other words, to heal people. Do you remember Ioreth? She's this old, I like her. She likes to talk. She's a big talker. She's, they say, the hands of a king or the hands of a healer. It's like, and then he comes and he says, you got any of that? We call it Athelis. He's like, that useless stuff? I don't know, maybe. Kingsfile, I think we can rustle up some of that. Like, then do it. Because he knows these things. What are the people of Minas Tirith going to need from their king after all that's happened? Hope and healing. Physical healing in some cases, but I guess we would say psychological and emotional healing, Ben, could you just please listen to our conversation here and not be doing the iambic pentameter? Thank you. He needs to heal. So he doesn't go in.
Yeah, he kept Frodo alive on the road to Rivendell, pretty much, to get Elrond to save him.
Oh, yes. So we saw that glimpse, right? The hands of a king or the hands of a healer. You too, Julia. You're counting syllables, but you're not listening to what we're saying. So wait, you just close your book. Awesome. Okay, so he's humble. Tell me about Faramir. How does Faramir... Oh, whoa! Oh, yeah, that's the last chapter you read. Oh, I'm going to make a mistake here. How does Faramir behave when Aragorn presents himself as the king? What? Yeah, here you go. Bye. I'm ready to hand it over. And I think I wrote it. It was one of my, okay. Okay, I love, okay, let's look at the houses of healing. Just a second. Okay. Suddenly, this is after he put that Athelas steam or whatever, bathed his face in it. Suddenly Faramir stirred, and he opened his eyes And he looked on Aragorn, who bent over him, and a light of knowledge and love was kindled in his eyes. And he spoke softly, "My lord, you called me. I come. What does the king command?" He knows instantly who this is has healed him. It's beautiful. And so Faramir, actually, we haven't got to that part. No, we have got to that part. Why can't I find it? Faramir met Aragorn in the midst of those there assembled, and he knelt and said, "The last steward of Gondor begs leave to surrender his office." And he held out a white rod, but Aragorn took the rod and gave it back, saying, "That office is not ended, and it shall be thine and thy heirs as long as my line shall last. Do now thy office." Then Faramir stood up and spoke in a clear voice, "Men of Gondor, hear now the steward of this realm. Behold, one has come to claim the kingship again at last." What do you think this scene would have looked like if Denethor had still been in charge?
Kind of nasty.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to like kill him to get the
For his coach.
Almost. Yeah, prove it. Prove it. You scum. I mean, that's the. But Faramir knows. He knows from the moment he is healed. What does my king command? What does the Bible say about humility? It says a lot of things about humility. That's not a very good question, is it? What happens to the humble?
The kingdom of God is theirs.
Yes, and they shall be exalted. The proud will be brought low, and the humble shall be exhausted. Okay, if Denethor is the proud, how'd that go for him?
He died.
Yeah, Ben, you mentioned this earlier, right? The humble shall be exalted. First of all, Aragorn, all those years of being insulted. He's the king. Not to mention, what's funny? No, I really want to know.
shall be exhausted. You accidentally said it. It sounded a lot like exhausted and you meant exalted.
Oh, yeah. The humble will also be exhausted sometimes. This is true. It can be exhausting to be humble. That's not what I meant. That is humorous. And then Faramir. Faramir. Do you remember over when he captured Frodo and Sam? And Frodo says, "You know what? The king is on the way." And Faramir responds in a way that we might take to be a little Boromir-ish, Denethor-ish. Like, well, if the king comes to the city, then then we will examine this with clear proofs. But this is just caution. You can't just have people showing up out of the woods and saying, "Hey, I'm the king." You got to prove it. But Aragorn proved it. He summoned the dead to battle. Only he can do that. Only the heir of Isildur, the descendant of Elendil, can do that. He did it. He is the healer that they've been looking for. And so the clear proofs are there. And so Faramir humbles himself. And what does he get? He gets to be steward in perpetuity. He says, you're second in command. You're my prime minister. You're my right-hand man. You're not relieved of office. You're still the steward of Gondor. And you're going to work side by side with the real king. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so we said humility. Bryn, I already forgot what else you said. What else we're talking about? What makes will Aragorn be a good king? Does anybody else remember? Or does anybody have another thing? So humility. Is there... He's just. That was the one I was thinking of. He's just. Okay, so remember Baragond. Maybe you don't remember Baragond. Baragond is the guy who was hanging out with Pippin, and Baragond's son is the little boy that was leading Pippin around the city before the battle started. And when Denethor took Faramir, like into the tombs, and like, I'm going to torch us both. Pippin told Baragond, I'm going to go get Gandalf, and you got to do something. And Baragond went in, if you remember, and the guy, there's a gatekeeper or something that to the paths that go off to the tombs, and he wouldn't let him in. And Baragond killed him.
Damn.
I know. Baragond just because he had to get in. Like Denethor is going to kill himself and kill Faramir, and I got to do something. And this guy, and he said later, he said, I regret it, but he drew his sword on me, and I had to save Faramir. But, as you can imagine, guards of the city are not allowed to just go killing other guards. That's not cool. So you can't not punish him. But would you want to punish him? Because he saved he held off when Gandalf got there. Baragond was almost single-handedly holding off the people who were bringing fire and set fire to the wood. He held them off long enough for Gandalf to get there and deal with the situation. And so here's the judgment. So Aragorn is king, and he says, at last, it says, at last the captain of the guard brought to him Baragond to be judged. And the king said to Baragond, Baragond, by your sword blood was spilled in the hallows, where that is forbidden. Also you left your post without leave of the Lord or of a captain. For these things of old death was the penalty. Now therefore I must pronounce your doom. All penalty is remitted for your valor in battle, and still more because all that you did was for the love of the Lord Faramir. Nonetheless, so we're not going to execute you. That penalty is remitted. Nevertheless, you must leave the guard of the citadel, and you must go forth from the city of Minas Tirith. They're banishing him from the city. Then the blood left Baragond's face, and he was stricken to the heart and bowed his head. But the king said, so it must be, for you are appointed to the White Company, the guard of Faramir, Prince of Ithilien, and you shall be its captain and dwell in Emin Arnon in honor and peace, and in the service of him for whom you risked all to save him from death. Faramir has been given Ithilien, the land across the river that, you remember, that Sam and Frodo were walking through, and the flowers were blooming in the crown around the statue's head and everything. Ithilien. It used to be beautiful until the orcs ruined it. And then Baragond, perceiving the mercy and justice of the king, was glad, and kneeling kissed his hand and departed in joy and content. And Aragorn gave to Faramir Ithilien to be his princedom, and bade him dwell in the hills of Emin Arnon within sight of the city. And last of all, Aragorn greeted Éomer of Rohan. Oh, that's not the one I wanted to. And this is back when their houses are healing. And to the warden of the houses, Faramir brought Éowyn and said, here's the lady Éowyn of Rohan. And now she is healed. What was wrong with Éowyn? What do you think, Ben?
Well, she got injured from killing the Lord of Despair.
Yes. Which you would think killing the Lord of Despair would do something to your soul. But they healed her body. Aragorn healed her body, but she still wasn't okay. And she was restless. and not okay. She wandered the houses of healing. What happened? What's going to happen to Eowyn? She's not going to die.
She got leave
Who
across the sea.
who did? No, she's not an elf.
No, I thought after you like touched the ring, that would, and then killing you
Oh,
would
oh
destroy
no,
that
no.
would be-
What happened to her in the houses of healing that finally Faramis said, and she is healed?
She fell in love.
With Faramir. Who did she want? Aragorn. And Faramir said, here's why you want Aragorn. First of all, he's really good looking, and he's awesome. But you're sick and tired of always getting left behind from every battle. People say, I guess I'm going to wrap up with this, I guess, even though I had more to talk about. We'll spend a lot, I'll put plenty of time for finishing up talking about the trilogy next week. Maybe you guys don't know this. Maybe you do. But the people today complain that old-fashioned stories don't have the women do enough. Like the women are always damsels in distress and they're always being rescued and they're weak and everything. Does Eowyn strike you as weak?
No.
Holy cow, no. Are there a lot of women in Lord of the Rings? No. But one of them took out the Lord of the Nazgul, for crying out loud. And Faramir said, look, I know what you want. You don't just want Aragorn. You want excitement. You want the life that you have not been able to have. Because what happens when the guys from Rohan go out? Like, Eowyn, take care of things at home while we're gone. She's good with a sword. Why can't I go? I don't want to always be doing the dishes and setting the table. There's nothing wrong with doing the dishes and setting the table.
I hate doing the dishes,
Yes.
but nobody else in my house does.
Somebody's got to do the dishes and set the table. But she wanted a dream, a fantasy life, right? That she was never going to get. Faramir is offering her, she's going to be like the princess of Ithilien. He's been given Ithilien as his princedom. This lovely man who's stern and an awesome fighter, but he says to her, I wrote this down, because we'll talk more about pity next week. She says to him, I don't want your pity. He says, I don't pity you. You killed the Lord of the Nazgul. I don't pity you. But I wish you could find peace. So anyway, I want to talk more about pity. You wrote a whole paper on, should Gollum have been killed, that I've given back to you, which was very interesting to me because we had mixed opinions on that. Even despite the fact that, as you have now found out, that without Gollum, I'm not sure the ring could ever have been destroyed.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was the most popular choice?
Ooh, that I.
Wait, why don't we just see who said no?
Yeah.
Who said
Yeah, raise your
Who said
hand.
no?
I did.
Wait, who said no?
No, he should not have been killed.
4?
Okay.
I wasn't paying.
You know what? I will have to look at my Thursday kids too. Maybe I'll try to remember to take a little poll.
So,
All right.
no.